Oh, oops. Hi, guys. If you're wondering what this is, it's a little crab arancino. So these are little fried rice balls, and that's what we're going to make today. We're going to start with making a little bit of risotto, and then we're going to show you how to fry these guys up. Really good stuff. A little butter and a little olive oil in your pan. I make these on my new show, Giada on the Beach, that basically airs on Sundays. And I think what I've been told now is that I basically own Sundays. So Giada on the Beach airs in the morning on Sundays, and in the evening we premiere Food Network Star this Sunday, 9 o'clock on Food Network. It's really fun. I can't believe Food Network Star is still on the air. I really can't. I feel like, I don't know. I feel like I've been doing it for 100 years. Anyhow, we're going to do a little garlic and a little bit of shallots. And of course, Giada on the Beach is sort of a show with just a few. Oh yes, seemed pretty hot to me. Okay, there you go. We got to turn on the stove if we're going to make some risotto here. And I'm in the Food Network kitchen, so I got a lot of help. Usually I shoot in LA, but right now we're doing it all in New York City. It's June and it is cold in New York City, which kind of is a big fat bummer. Anyhow, so Giada on the Beach, we shoot it in Malibu, and I basically get my family, my friends together, and we just have lots of parties, do a lot of eating, a lot of walking, a lot of swimming on the beach in Malibu, which honestly sounds really great right now. And then Food Network Star, we've got a few fun surprises in the premiere episode, and I think you guys will find it really, really fun. This year we got to go to, a new location to start the first episode. So Bobby and I had a fun time there. Nice and warm with lots of activities. Yes, do you have a question for me?
Gabriella has a question. What food do you recommend eating on the beach, and what food do you hate to eat on the beach?
There we go. What food do I hate to eat on the beach? Well, Gabriella, that's a really good question. What food do I hate to eat on the beach? I don't think there's anything I hate to eat on the beach. I mean, there are things that are a little more beach-friendly than others. I like fish. Lots of different fish dishes on the beach. I think that more casual food works better on the beach than anything that is a little too complicated. So, make it easy and simple and clean as possible, meaning you don't have a ton of sauces, you don't have a lot of different layers. Like, I wouldn't eat a stew per se on the beach, maybe. I'd leave that for, the winter time. And I'd say probably my favorite thing to eat on the beach would be, I think I like appetizers. I like little bites of food on the beach. I think because you're holding a cocktail, trying to walk around, and it's hard to carry a plate and a drink and everything else. So little bites of food, you feel nice and light because on the beach you just want to kind of run around. So I think little appetizers, and I do a little aperitivo party that I think is really fun. I think the best thing about the beach is that you get to go to the farmer's market and kind of use the summertime ingredients, which are obviously in full swing. Lots of herbs, lots of fresh vegetables. There's nothing better than summertime. Okay. We got that. Now we're going to toast our rice, and we're going to use short grain rice for risotto. And risotto, although sometimes still intimidating for a lot of people, is something you can cook pretty quickly. So you want to toast it right in there, kind of give the rice a nice nutty flavor. And then little by little, you got to hang out with the risotto, and you add a little bit of broth at a time. Before we add the broth, we're going to add some white wine. You want to make sure that the white wine is tasty. There we go. And I like to drink the wine that I cook with, that's for sure. So try to use the same type of wine. You don't need a lot, and then you just let the heat evaporate some of the wine in here, but the rice starts kind of grabbing that flavor, and that's what you want to do to the rice, is adding lots of flavor. And then little by little, you just ladle some chicken broth that's warm, so you want both things to be the same temperature. Warm chicken broth directly into the rice. Little by little, the rice absorbs the chicken broth, releases the starches, and you get a nice creamy risotto. It takes a few minutes for that to happen, and you need a little bit of patience, but I think it's well worth it. There we go. And you know what else we're doing today? we are also doing a little giveaway on Food Network's Instagram page. And I'm going to sign, I don't know, how many of these? 10 of these books. Okay, so this is my latest book. Came out a few months ago. It is fantastic. It is a New York Times bestseller. Yay! And it's got the crab arancini in it. It's got lots of pictures of Italy in it. And I'm going to sign it for you. And look at that. Look at that. Got lots of my family, Jade, my mother. It's a pretty spectacular book. And I think everybody should get a copy. So we're going to do a little giveaway. So make sure you check out Food Network's Instagram page for that. Lots of things going on over here. Lots and lots. I've been up since 5 a.m. and I'm trying to keep them all sort of in my head at the same time. God, it smells good. Yes.
Denise
What more can I do?
Is Jade a picky eater? Would she eat these?
She loves these. Actually, we make these together. Jade just likes the idea of taking something that's sticky, right? And rolling it into a ball and then deep frying it and then turning it into something that's like a little golden nugget like this. And so she likes to make them small so that she can pop them in her mouth. I mean, you can imagine that something like this is really fun for kids to eat. It's fried, it's sort of starchy. The only thing I will say about Jade is she prefers I don't put crab in it. She prefers that it's got the cheese. So when I was a kid, and I've done this for Jade, when you open these, classically when you open these arancini, there's mozzarella inside, and the heat from frying them melts the mozzarella, so when you open it, it's like, you know, unbelievable. So she likes that. She prefers that to the crab for sure. But the great thing about this is you can stuff it with anything. A piece of sausage, chicken, cheese, anything you want. The whole idea is that there's a little surprise in every single little rice ball. I'm going to do a little more broth and show you that it's going to get really creamy. There we go. The thing about risotto is you do have to be patient because it slowly, you know, slowly has to release its starches. And you can't make it go any faster. Yes?
Susan wants to know, do you have a tip for making pasta at home?
Do I have a tip? Make sure you really season the water for the pasta, lots of salt. That's the first time you actually flavor the pasta. And secondly, don't overcook it. You know? The rest, top it with anything you want. There we go. Well, I don't know if we have some rice that's a little more cooked, because this is going to take a little bit. Otherwise, I can switch to showing you how to roll the balls once you've got the risotto cooked and cooled. Should we do that?
Sure. Yeah. While you're doing that, I want to answer some questions.
Sure.
Jessica wants to know about your restaurants in Vegas. What's your favorite part about running restaurants?
I think that my favorite part is being able to walk in the back and just get a cup of coffee or pick off the line and taste ingredients. I think that's probably my favorite part. But also I would say that to watch people's faces and how they react to the food and how excited they are to actually be able to taste the food. I have two in Las Vegas. One is a fine dining Giada, which at the Cromwell, which is the first one I ever opened 4 years ago. Actually, we just had our anniversary 2 days ago. It's been 4 years. And the other one I just opened in February called Pronto at Caesar's Palace. And that's a quick serve. So that one's really easy. And that one's fun because when I go, Jade likes to work the counter. She likes to make people paninis and grab their to-go and make coffee and, of course, sample all of the gelati. That's her favorite part. Those are very different from each other, but still my brand, my kind of Italian food. Yes?
If you want to show there's some cooked rice behind the
Yes.
breading station.
Yes. Hold on. Now this is cooled rice. So what happens is after the risotto's cooked completely, we add the crab, we add a little mascarpone, some chives, mix it in, and then put it on this baking sheet and just sort of make a layer out of it and let it cool completely. So you can stick it in the fridge, you can just let it cool. The idea being that once it's cooled, I'm going to show you, you create a little breading station just like this. And you know what, the idea with these is that you use leftover risotto. So you make risotto, you make extra, or you have extra. A lot of the greatest dishes I find in many different cuisines are made from leftovers, figuring out what to do with it. And it's It really is something that becomes sort of eggs, flour, and breadcrumbs. There we go. So this is a classic breading station. Actually, let's do it this way so there's more space. Perfect. And we do some beaten egg, and I season it, some flour, and some breadcrumbs. Now we're using panko breadcrumbs. They're sort of a Japanese breadcrumb. They use the crust and, the inside of the bread, and it's very light, so it creates this really nice crust. But you could use regular breadcrumbs if you wanted to, of course. So then you use a little measuring spoon, and you can see how creamy the risotto is. The crab's already in it, the chive's already in it, a little lemon zest, Parmesan cheese. You make a little ball, kind of like making meatballs. It's really kind of the same idea. You have oil that you've already brought to temperature, about 350 or 325 for a nice golden crust. Then, there we go. So at this point, if you were putting mozzarella in, you'd stick the mozzarella in there and then cover it up. Then you put it in some egg, just a nice light coating. And the idea about doing this is so you get a nice coat, nice thin coat, and it sticks really well. If you just do breadcrumbs, once you put it in the fryer, the breadcrumbs come right off, so you don't get a nice crust. And this is Italian street food. That is what, people eat, especially in the South. You'll find them all over the place, the way you would find hot dogs and pretzels in New York City. Same idea. Okay, so now you got a nice crust. You make sure that you don't stick your fingers in the hot oil, because you will burn them, and that will not feel good. So stick it in a spider like this, and then put the ball in there. So if you don't have a thermometer, then what I like to do, I'm going to clean my hands real quick, is to figure out if the oil is to temperature. I take some of the breadcrumbs, I throw them in the oil. If they immediately come to the surface and turn black, well, the oil is too hot, so turn it down. If they sink to the bottom and don't do anything for about a second, the oil is not hot enough. If they slowly float to the top and turn a golden brown, your oil is a perfect temperature. And sometimes not everybody has thermometers, so they can't always tell. So that's a really great way to learn how to eyeball oil and figure out the correct temperature. Okay, so our little rice ball is cooking. And so basically that's what you do. And this is where your family and friends come in handy, because you can make all of this risotto in advance, a day. If you don't put crab, you can even make it several days in advance. And then you just line them up, and they could use a teaspoon measure. You could use a little regular spoon measure. You set this up, and they go to town. And this is Jade's favorite part, getting her hands dirty. Of course, I do the frying, but Jade likes to do the dipping. Yeah?
Deanna wants to know your favorite gelato place in Italy.
Well, it depends on what city. But if I was going to give you a gelato place that you can find all over in almost every major city, it would be Venchi. They have, some of their stores, their flagship stores, have this ginormous melted chocolate fountain that when you walk in, all of this chocolate is melting all over the place, and it goes into this big vat, and they at times do a little cone with some ice cream, and then they dip it in that chocolate, and they put it in the freezer for a second, and it hardens. It's pretty spectacular. So Venchi is in most major cities, but otherwise there's a lot of little local ones in different areas in all of the cities in Italy. Nothing beats some cold gelato on a hot day. Yes?
Heather wants to know your favorite part of hosting Food Network Star with Bobby.
Teasing Bobby. No, I'm just kidding. The best part, I think, would be probably mentoring people and sort of making their dreams come true. Who wouldn't, after all that... Hold, please. Okay. After all that... Bobby and I do, it's really nice to be able to, and all that we've learned over the years. Bobby's been on Food Network longer than I have, for sure, over 20 years. I've been doing it about, almost 15, but not quite. It's really nice. We've learned so many things. It's nice to be able to help somebody else make their dreams come true. When we started, there weren't many people in our business, and so it's really cool to watch all of these people who've been watching us all this time and then making them their dreams come true in some form. There you go. There's the arancino, nice and hot. Let's see. Nope, this one needs a couple more minutes. I like to dip these in some marinara. So you can just make your own, or you can just do some store-bought, and this is how it works. See, just like that. So good.
Anything you could tease for Sunday's premiere of Food Network Star? Comeback, perhaps?
Sunday's premiere for Food Network Star. Well, we're not in Los Angeles. I've been told I'm not supposed to tell you where we are. I'm going to tell you we're somewhere on the East Coast where it's really warm, and a lot of families go there because there's a lot to do in that city, and that maybe will help you to tell you where we are. But we also have a couple of surprises that I think you guys will really love. If you've watched Food Network Star before, you might have a clue of one of these surprises. The second one will blow your mind. Here we go. There's another beautiful one. Look at that.
Okay, we have our last question from from Charlie. What's your favorite recipe from Giada's Italy, and where can people get it?
Well, you can get, if you want a signed copy, you can get, if you're one of 10 people, you'll be able to get it on Food Network's Instagram site. And if not, bookstores, Amazon. I mean, truly, Amazon's probably the cheapest place to get it. Costco, bookstores, anywhere that sells cookbooks, really. Yeah, I think so. And for more signed copies, I think you could probably find them on jodzi.com.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, guys. See you Sunday.